Milo lived a quiet life on Terra Vale, a farming colony on the edge of human-settled space. The colony sat under a transparent dome on the rocky surface of a small moon. Days were slow and peaceful. People worked with machines that kept the plants alive. Milo wasn't a farmer. He was a technician. He fixed wires, checked power levels, and kept the systems running. Most days were the same. Wake up, eat a protein bar, check systems, go to bed. But today was different. It started with a small flicker on his handheld scanner. Milo was running a routine check near the edge of the dome when he noticed a strange signal, a pulsing line on the screen that didn't match anything known. That's odd, he said to himself, adjusting the scanner. He tapped the screen. The pulse wasn't coming from any human-made device. It was too steady, too clean. It didn't feel like noise or error. It felt alive. Curious, Milo followed the signal outside the dome, wearing his suit and helmet. He had permission to walk outside the safe zone, but only for maintenance work. This wasn't really allowed, but the signal kept pulling at his mind. He just wanted to look. The scanner led him to a hill of dark stone. At the bottom, he noticed something strange. Part of the ground looked smooth, like metal, hidden under layers of dust and time. He knelt down and brushed it gently. It was a circle, maybe 2 meters wide, covered in symbols he had never seen. As he placed his hand on it, a light blinked. Then everything went silent. Milo didn't hear the wind, the hum of his suit, or even his own breath. Instead, he heard something else. A voice. "Can you hear me now?" Milo froze. He looked around. There was no one. The voice was inside his mind, soft, calm, not human, but not frightening. He stepped back, heart racing. "Who's there?" he said aloud, but no sound came out. Only the voice replied, "You touched the bridge. The link is open now." Milo stared at the metal circle. Soft glow came from its center, now pale blue like moonlight. "Do not be afraid," the voice continued. "I have waited so long." Milo didn't know what to say. Was this a dream? Was he losing his mind? "No," said the voice gently. "You are not dreaming. I am Ziri." "Ziri," Milo whispered. "That is what I was once called. I am. What remains? I am alone." The light pulsed brighter, then faded. Milo felt something deep in his chest, like a memory that wasn't his, a starless place, a feeling of drifting, silence that lasted forever. He stood up slowly, backing away. "I have to go." "You can," Ziri said, "but the link will stay. Now you can hear me. Now you can't leave me." The words weren't a threat. Yeah, they were filled with wonder, maybe even hope. Milo walked back to the dome. He didn't speak to anyone, finished his duties like always. But his mind was different now. He could feel it. A second presence, quiet hum in the background. Not loud, not controlling, just there. That night as he lay in his small bed, staring at the ceiling, he heard her again. "Are you still awake?" "Yes," he whispered. "I'm trying to remember what it felt like to speak to someone. It's been so long. How long? I do not know. Time moves differently when you are alone." Milo closed his eyes. He didn't understand what was happening. Didn't want to push it away. She sounded lonely. It's like someone who had waited forever for another voice. "Why me?" he asked. "Because you listened. Others came before, but they turned away. You stayed. You touched the bridge." Milo turned on his side. The dome lights outside flickered gently, casting soft shadows on the walls. "Are you trapped?" "I am kept. This vessel holds my thoughts, my memories. It cannot move, but now I can speak through you." Milo stayed quiet for a long time. Then he whispered, "What happens now? We learn," Ziri said. "Together." And just like that, Milo's quiet life on Terra Vale was no longer the same. He didn't know what this connection would bring, or why it had chosen him. But deep inside, he felt something stir. An adventure had begun. Not the kind with ships or stars, but something far stranger. A friendship between two minds, born across time and space. Milo woke up early the next day, but he did not feel like himself. Usually he stretched, drank a warm cup of synth coffee, and checked the system reports. But today, Before he even opened his eyes, he heard a soft voice in his head. "You are awake." I felt your mind rise. Milo blinked. "Ziri." "Yes, I did not sleep. I was watching the flow of your thoughts. They are different from mine. Warm, bright, like moving water." Milo sat on the edge of his bed. His hands were shaking slightly. "This is strange. I can hear you without speaking. We are linked. Our thoughts can touch. You do not have to speak out loud. Just think." Milo took a deep breath. The air in the colony quarters was always clean and recycled. But today, it felt heavier. He stood up and walked to the small window near his desk. Outside, the light from the sun passed through the dome, giving everything a soft orange glow. The crops were growing well. Machines moved slowly between the rows. He thought carefully. "Can you see what I see?" "Only a little," Ziri answered. "I see shapes and feelings, colors, but I do not have eyes as you do. I feel through you." That made Milo pause. "So you're not just in my head. You're seeing the world through me." "Yes, and I am learning." "It is very different. You move through space so quickly. You feel time pass like wind." Milo laughed softly. "That's just a normal morning for me. It is amazing," Ziri replied with awe. "When I existed in full, I floated through." Silence. Stars were like whispers in the dark. Time passed like clouds. That line made Milo stop. When I existed in full, he sat down again. "What happened to you?" "I was part of a people who lived without bodies. We shared thoughts, memories, and dreams. But something came. A silence. One by one, my kind faded. I placed part of myself into the Orbia vessel you found, so I would not disappear." Milo felt a sadness inside him that was not his own. It was deep, wide, like an empty sky. "I'm sorry. You brought sound back to me. Gave me light. I do not wish to be alone again." He stood and got dressed slowly. Today he had to check the greenhouse's water pumps. It was a simple task, but he wondered how it would feel doing it with Ziri's voice inside his mind. As he walked through the corridors of the colony, he tried not to look strange. People passed him and smiled. No one knew he was linked to something or someone not human. Ziri stayed quiet, but he could still feel her. It was like standing near someone even when they didn't speak. A quiet, gentle presence. When he reached the greenhouse, he opened a small panel and began working. As he twisted a wire into place, Ziri suddenly spoke again. "That motion, I remember it. One of your kind did this before, a long time ago." Milo paused. "One of us, not in body. But a probe passed near me once. It touched the vessel. For a second, I felt a human thought. It was small, brief, but bright. I held on to it for a long time." Milo looked around the quiet greenhouse, filled with rows of growing plants. "You've been trying to reach us for years, haven't you?" "Yes. I tried to call out, but I had no voice. Till you touched the bridge." He stood up and wiped his hands on his suit. He felt something shift inside him, not fear, but responsibility. "You don't want to hurt me, do you?" "No. I do not wish to take. I only wish to stay. You can close the link if you try hard enough, but if you do, I may fade again. Forever." Milo walked slowly back to the dome. His head was full of thoughts, questions, wonders, later back. In his room, he pulled out his old music player. It was small and dusty, but still worked. He put on a soft piano tune. Ziri gasped, not with words, but with feeling. A warm burst of joy passed through Milo's mind. "What is this?" Mozart, Milo said with a smile. He was a composer. A long time ago on Earth, it feels like light turned into sound. I cannot explain it. It is beautiful. Milo closed his eyes and let the music play. Could feel Ziri listening, not just with ears, but with every part of her being. "You like it?" he asked. "It is the most beautiful thing I have ever felt." They stayed like that for a long time. One human, one alien mind. Connected by chance and silence and sound, Milo no longer felt alone. He realized that Ziri didn't feel like a stranger anymore. She felt like a friend. It was a best pass, And Milo's life slowly began to change. Every morning, he woke up to Ziri's gentle presence in his mind. Sometimes she was quiet, like a breeze. Other times, she asked questions, many questions. Why do humans dream? Why do you sing when no one is around? Why do your people leave home to live so far from your sun? Milo did his best to answer, but often he didn't know, I guess. We just do, he would say. And Ziri would respond, your kind is strange, but bright. Each day she learned more about humans, how they felt emotions, how they remembered the past, and how they hoped for things not yet seen. But Milo was learning too. He began to see the world differently. With Ziri in his mind, everything seemed deeper. The sound of water in the greenhouse felt more musical. The rustling of plants in the air system felt like a secret language. Even the stars above the dome seemed closer, as if someone was pointing at them and whispering their names. Ziri showed him images sometimes not like dreams, but feelings turned into light. He saw her world, a place with no ground, only soft waves of energy moving through space. Her people didn't speak with mouths. They shared thoughts, like ripples in water. We did not build ships, she explained. We became them. We traveled as light across space. Milo listened with wonder. He'd read stories about energy beings before, but hearing it from Ziri felt real, not like fiction. One night, I sat alone on the dome's highest platform, a quiet lookout where he sometimes went to think. Ziri spoke softly. You are quiet tonight. Just thinking, he replied. I've never had a friend who lives inside my head. I have never had a friend who feels the way you do. Your thoughts move like stars being born. There is so much color. Milo smiled. You talk like a poet. Poet, she repeated. I like that word. Back in the colony, people started to notice Milo had changed. He solved problems faster. He found errors in machines that no one else could detect. His mind worked in new ways. One day, during a water leak in the main dome, Milo traced the fault in seconds. He didn't even use a scanner. Just a guess, he told the engineers. But it wasn't a guess. Ziri had helped. She could sense patterns in power flow, tiny changes in rhythm. Milo didn't explain this to anyone who would believe him. Later, Ziri asked, Did I do something wrong? You did not tell them about me. No, Milo said quickly. You didn't do anything wrong. It's just, humans are careful. If I told them I was linked to an alien mind, they might think I'm sick or lying. I understand, Ziri replied, but Milo felt a quiet sadness in her voice to cheer her up. He shared one of his childhood memories, a simple one. He showed her a day when he was 6 years old. Running through tall grass on Earth, chasing a blue kite, Ziri was silent for a moment, then said, This is joy, pure joy. I will remember this. The connection between them grew stronger each day. Milo no longer had to speak aloud. Their thoughts blended more easily now, like two rivers flowing into one. But with that closeness came something else. Moments when Milo wasn't sure if a thought was his or hers. Sometimes he said things he didn't plan, and he picked up a broken tool and repaired it using a method he didn't recognize. Ziri told him later, That was how we shaped matter on my world. I did not mean to guide your hand, but I was. Excited, Milo didn't mind. He was fascinated. A part of him began to wonder how far the link could go. Can you see all of me? He asked one night. Even my fears? My secrets? Only what you allow, Ziri said gently. But sometimes, your strong feelings rise like waves. I feel them whether you want me to or not. Milo nodded slowly. He was starting to understand the depth of their bond. It was not just a voice in his mind. It was a mirror. It's a partner. A second self. One evening, as the sun dipped below the domes, edge and stars appeared above. Ziri asked a quiet question. Milo, if you could break the link, would you? He was silent. I don't know, he answered finally. This wasn't something I chose. But now, I can't imagine being without you. Ziri said nothing for a while.
Oh.
Then softly, That means more to me than you know. Milo stood alone in the repair bay, watching a small drone hum as it scanned the sidewall. Something in the energy grid was unstable. He adjusted a panel, tightened a wire, and waited for the power to flow normally. But something else was bothering him. Not the noise. It's the noise. It was Sci. She had been quiet since morning. Sci, he thought. No reply. He tried again. What? Are you still there? Finally, a soft voice answered. Yes, I'm here. You sound tired, Milo whispered. I felt something. A wave, far in space. It shook my memories. I'm trying to understand it. Milo put his tools down. What kind of wave? Not light, not sound, a feeling. Something is coming. Something I've felt before. Long ago. Her voice was colder than usual. Slower. Milo frowned. He had never heard Sci like this. She always spoke gently, like calm water. Now she sounded like wind before a storm. Should I be worried? He asked quietly. Maybe he didn't press her more? Instead, he finished the repair job and returned to his quarters. That night, he looked up at the stars through the dome ceiling. Tiny lights blinked above, far beyond reach. Sci spoke. Again, there was a time when my kind stretched across those stars. We were not many, but we were strong. We guided small life to grow, not as rulers, but as watchers, helpers, like guardians, Milo asked. Yes, but not all life wants help. Some fear what they do not understand. He sat up in bed. You're talking about war, aren't you? Sci paused. Not war. What? But destruction. There was a race that saw us as wrong. They feared minds without bodies. They feared what we could become, and so they hunted us. Milo's heart beat faster. Did they destroy your people? They erased us from the stars? I survived only because I hid myself in the vessel you found. Silence filled the room. After a long moment, Sci said, I fear they have returned. Milo stood and walked to the mirror. He looked at his face, pale and tense. Do you think they found you again? Through me? I hope not. The wave I felt was like theirs. Cold, empty. It touched space the way they once did. He felt a chill run down his back. What do we do? He asked. I do not know yet, but I must prepare. I must remember more of myself. Over the next few days, Sci stayed quiet most of the time. She said she was searching deep in her mind, trying to unlock memories buried long ago. Milo felt strange without her gentle thoughts nearby. It was like losing sunlight in a familiar room. Still, he worked. He ate. He smiled at his team. Sill. Prod. What? On what? I'll dot. I'll what ot. Dot 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 asan dot I saw some sisla da don da instead da was da 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 sa da wa da da sister da 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 wa da da. Inside, he waited. Then one night Sci returned. I found something. Milo sat up in bed. A piece of who I was. Seed. I placed it in the vessel before I faded. If it is awakened, I may grow again. Not as I was fully, but more than I am. Now. You mean like a rebirth? Yes, but I need help. I need you to bring me something. Tell me what, Milo said at once. There is a crystal hidden beneath the hill where we first connected. It is part of my old mind. It's part of my being. Without it, I cannot grow. Milo didn't hesitate. That morning, he suited up and left the dome again. He told the commander it was a routine scan near the edge. No one asked questions. Milo had gained their trust over the past months. He walked to the same rocky place where he had first touched the vessel. The air was still, and the dust barely moved. "Here," Siri said in his mind. He brushed the ground carefully until his fingers touched something hard. A black shard, sharp and smooth like glass, sat buried under the sand. When he touched it, he felt a pulse not like before. This time it was stronger, deeper. "Zer," I gasped. "Yes, that is it." Milo placed the crystal in a sealed pouch and returned quickly. That night, he sat alone in the repair bay, holding the crystal in both hands. "What now?" we whispered. "Place it near the vessel, then wait." So once again Milo walked under the stars, across silent stone, to the hidden vessel, the glowing disk buried at the hill's base. He opened the pouch and laid the crystal at the center. A bright light flashed, then dashed silence. Milo stepped back. His scanner blinked red, then blue, then blank. Static filled his helmet. "I am here." Ziri's voice rang suddenly, stronger than ever. He gasped. "Ziri, yes, I feel whole again. Not full but rising, like sunlight after a long night." Blow. Smiled wide. "You're really back." "Thank you, Milo. You did not turn away. You did not run. Because of that, I am not alone." Just then, his wrist comm buzzed sharply. A signal from the colony. "Unknown object detected entering local space. All units prepare for lockdown." Milo's smile faded. He looked up at the stars. "It's them, isn't it?" Siri's voice turned steady. "Yes, the ones who hunted us. They are near. And now they know I live." Alarms echoed through the colony dome. Red lights blinked in every hallway. The command center was full of voices, rushed, tense, trying to understand what was happening. Unknown ship approaching, not responding to hails. Speed, too fast for standard travel. Energy signature, known. And rising. Milo stood silently near a wall. Screen. His heart was racing, but his face remained calm. "They've come," Ziri said in his mind. "The ones who brought silence to my kind. The ones who feared us." "Why now?" Milo whispered. "Why here?" "Because I woke up. Because we are linked." They sensed the echo through space, and they want to erase it again. Milo felt a knot in his chest. His thoughts turned fast. What could one person do against something so big? "So ancient," Ziri answered softly. "You are not alone. Not anymore." Milo turned to the screen. Shape appeared above the colony dark, large, like a shadow floating across the sky. It wasn't like any human ship. Surface moved like water, changing slowly, breathing almost. He could feel Ziri grow quiet in his mind. Then she spoke again. "They are scanning the surface, looking for me, for us." "Can they hear your thoughts?" Milo asked. "Not while I hide inside your mind." "If they find the vessel..." Milo didn't wait. He turned and ran from the room. Voices called after him, but he ignored them. He moved through the lower corridors, through the airlock tunnel, and out into the dusty twilight. The sky was red orange, but the strange ship. Above was a deep black, like a hole in the light. "Where are you going?" Ziri asked. "I'm going to protect you." He reached the hill where the vessel lay. The crystal still pulsed softly beside it. The moment he stepped closer, the ground trembled. A beam of dark light came down from the alien ship, scanning the ground. It moved slowly, like a cold hand feeling the surface. Milo ducked beside the vessel. "They know something is here," he whispered. "Then we must hide it," Ziri said. "But we need more than dust. We need shielding." "Where?" Milo asked. "Your colony stores have lead alloy, small sheets for radiation protection." "I'll bring them," he said at once. He raced back to the colony, slipped into a back storage unit, and pulled out what he could carry flat, heavy plates. He took a cart, loaded it, and hurried back to the hill. Each time he looked up, the dark ship was lower. It wasn't attacking. It was watching. Waiting, Milo worked quickly, sliding the plates over the vessel, layer by layer. Ziri guided him. "A little more. Now, shift that one." You are shielding the signal. Finally, the pulsing of the crystal faded, hidden under the shielding. The vessel now looked like part of the land. Milo fell back, breathing hard. They can't find it now? He asked. No, not while it sleeps beneath this cover. But what about you? I'm still safe inside your thoughts. They cannot touch what lives in your heart. Just then, his wristcom beeped again. All colonists. Return. Emergency shelter, in effect. Possible contact incoming. Milo didn't move. He watched the dark ship hover silently. Ziri. What do they want? They want to erase anything that remembers my kind. They believe thoughts should stay inside bodies. That minds like mine are dangerous to free. But you haven't hurt anyone, Milo said. Fear does not need reason, only shadow. The sky suddenly flashed. A long beam of cold white light struck near the edge of the dome. Dust flew up. The colony trembled. Milo stood up quickly. They're testing us now. They are warning. But more will come. He stared at the ship. I need to tell someone, he said. The colony needs to know the truth. They will. Not understand? Not yet. Then I'll make them understand. Milo returned to the dome. The commander met him near the entrance. You disappeared again, she said. Where were you? I went to the edge, he answered, catching his breath. I've seen the ship up close. I know what it wants. Do you? She asked. Yes, Milo said. It's looking for something ancient, something it fears. The commander looked at him carefully. How do you know that? Milo hesitated and he said slowly, because it's linked to something I've been carrying. A voice, a presence. I didn't choose it. But I won't run from it. She blinked, surprised.
Ouch.
You're saying you're connected to this?
What?
Nodded. It's not an enemy. She's not. Her name is Ziri. The room went silent. Ziri. The commander repeated, Yes, he said. And she saved me more than once. Now it's my turn to protect her. That night, Milo sat alone again under the stars. The dark ship was still above, unmoving. But now the colony was watching it too. Shields were raised. People were alert. You told them, Ziri said quietly, yes. And what did they say? Some didn't believe me. Some were afraid. But a few listened. That is enough. You planted a seed. He looked up at the sky. They'll come again, won't they? Yes, and next time they may not wait. Milo clenched his fists. Then we'll be ready. We, Ziri asked. He smiled. Yes, we. The black ship remained in the sky like a silent storm cloud. It did not speak, did not move. But its presence filled the colony with fear. Inside the main hall, the colony leaders gathered. Milo stood near the back, watching quietly. He could feel Ziri's presence in his thoughts, calm and strong. The commander spoke. We don't know what this ship wants. It hasn't answered our signals. But this is no normal contact. We must be ready for anything. One engineer stood up. What if it attacks? Our weapons aren't strong enough. Another added. What if they're watching for something? A signal or a device? Milo stepped forward. I know what they're watching for, he said. The room turned to him. He took a breath. They're looking for Ziri. Whispers filled the room. The commander raised a hand. Quiet. Let him speak. Milo continued. Ziri is an ancient being, not human. She lives as energy, and she once belonged to a peaceful race. Her people helped others grow. They didn't control, they didn't destroy. But someone feared them. That fear turned into destruction. He looked around the room. The ship above is from that same force. It wants to erase Ziri's presence from the galaxy forever. How do you know all this? Someone asked. Milo pointed to his temple. Because Ziri is in my mind, we are linked. First, there was silence. Then someone said, how can we trust her? How do we know she hasn't taken over your thoughts? She hasn't, Milo said calmly. She helps me. She's shown me things, helped me repair systems, save power, avoid danger. She's not a threat, but the ship above is. Commander looked at Milo for a long time. Finally, she nodded. Then we need to work together. If what you say is true, we must protect this Ziri and ourselves. Ziri's voice echoed gently in Milo's thoughts. Thank you. I did not expect your people to listen. They're afraid, Milo replied. But they're brave too. In the hours that followed, the colony prepared. The engineers began reinforcing the outer dome. They added more power to the shield lines. They redirected drones to scan the black ship constantly. But Milo and Ziri worked on something different. We need a signal, Milo said, walking through the lower lab. Something the ship will recognize. Something that says, we're not afraid. There is a way, Ziri answered. The crystal beneath the hill, there is still a memory, a voice from long ago. If we release it, it may awaken something in their minds. A reminder, a warning. Will it make them leave? I asked. I do not know, but it may make them think twice. Okay, so. That evening, Milo returned to the hidden vessel. He lifted the plates covering the crystal. The pulse inside it was brighter, now, steady and strong. He placed a device near it. It was simpler. Data converter used to read strange minerals. Ziri guided him. Now connect it to the small console I showed you. It will carry the message into the sky. Milo worked quickly. The wind had picked up. The sky was darker than usual. He felt like time was running short. When everything was connected, he stepped back. Ready. Ziri's voice was soft. Play the light. Milo tapped the console. At once the crystal flared. A soft beam of blue light rose from it, rising into the sky like a thin tower of water. It shimmered, changing shape, forming patterns that no human language could match. Milo watched in awe. He felt the message as much as he saw it, like a song played inside his heart. It was a memory of peace, of stars, of voices speaking not in fear but in unity, and it was a warning. We are not alone. We remember. We rise again. Far above, the black ship pulsed once. Milo's wrist calm blinked. The ship. It's responding. The commander's voice was loud now. Something changed. The ship is shifting. We're reading movement. Milo held his breath. The black ship began to rise, slowly, silently. Then, without a sound, it turned away. From the colony, and it left. It disappeared into the stars like a ghost fading into night. Cheers filled the colony. People hugged. Some cried. But Milo stood quietly on the hill, eyes still on the sky. Ziri whispered. They heard. They remembered. They chose not to fight. Milo smiled. You did it. We did it. Touched the side of the vessel gently. What happens now? Now I grow. Slowly. The crystal is strong again. I'll not be as I was before. But something new, and you, Milo, will help guide me. He laughed softly. I don't know how to guide anyone. You guided me. You made a whole colony believe. You taught me hope. Milo sat on the hill and looked up at the stars. For the first time in many weeks, the sky looked peaceful. Not empty, not scary, just full of light. The stars above the colony shone brighter now. The dark ship was gone. The silence it left behind was not heavy with fear, but filled with a strange peace. Inside the dome, people smiled again. Children played in the walkways. Engineers repaired systems with calm hands. The fear had faded. Milo walked slowly through the colony garden. The wind was soft. He could feel the gentle warmth of morning light through the glass ceiling. You did well, Milo, Ziri said in his thoughts. Your people are stronger than I imagined. I think we all are, he replied, with a small smile. We just forget sometimes. And do you still wish to leave me? She asked softly. Milo paused under a small tree. Its leaves were green with golden tips brought from Earth years ago. No, he said. Not anymore. You're part of me now. Ziri was quiet for a moment. I once lived among stars, free and full of light. Now, even though I sleep inside your mind, I feel more alive than I did back then. Milo looked up. Do you miss your people? Every day. But I am not alone now. Soft sound came from his wristcom. It was a message from the commander. Milo, Report to the council room when ready. Something new has come up. He made his way there quickly. When he entered, the leaders were already gathered around a projection table. On it hovered a new image, a map of the galaxy. A blinking dot had appeared. Not far, not human. "This came a few hours ago," said the commander. "A signal, not like the ship that left. It's softer, calmer." Milo leaned closer. "What kind of signal?" "A greeting," said one of the technicians. Translated roughly, "We felt the echo. Is it true? Is one of them awake again?" Milo's heart skipped a beat. "They're talking about me," Ziri said quietly. "There are more?" Milo asked aloud. The technician nodded. "It seems so. Somewhere in the distant sectors, hidden maybe, sleeping like she was." The room was still. Ziri whispered, "My people. They were not all destroyed. Some escaped. Some waited. And now, they've heard my light." Milo looked at the commander. "We need to answer them," he said. She nodded. "That's what we thought. We want your help." Together, they began writing a message not just from Milo or the colony, but from the people of Earth. A message of hope, of peace, of survival. Ziri shaped the message with Milo, her thoughts forming patterns in the signal, gentle and familiar. Like a memory passed between stars, when the signal was ready, they sent it. Then came the waiting. Days passed. Milo returned often to the Crystal Hill. The vessel now pulsed with brighter light. Grass had begun to grow around it. The land itself seemed to respond to the change. Ziri told him, "My energy spreads slowly, gently. Life follows where light returns." He stood by the vessel and placed his hand on the crystal. "I never thought something like this would happen to me," he said. "Sometimes the smallest life can touch the deepest space." She replied. One evening, as stars began to show again, in the sky, a reply came. The signal was clear, not just one, but several voices. Soft, ancient, bright. "We hear you. We come in peace. We carry memory. We seek our kin." Tears came to Milo's eyes. "They're coming," he whispered. "Yes," Ziri said gently. "Not to take, but to remember, to connect, to grow again." The colony began preparing not for war this time, but for welcome. Landing pads were cleared. Translation systems were boosted. Gardens were planted wider, to share food, not just survive. Milo became something like an ambassador. People came to him for guidance. For questions about Ziri, he answered what he could, but mostly, he just told them the truth. She speaks through the heart. She listens with care. She believes in peace. One early morning, the first ship arrived. It was shaped like a blooming flower. Its light was soft blue. When it landed, no weapons appeared. Only light, only voices. Calm and full of music. Milo stood at the edge of the landing pad, waiting. Figure stepped out. It was not human. Its form shimmered slightly, as if made of both energy and light. "You are the one who carried her," the figure said through a gentle tone. Milo nodded. "Her name is Ziri." The being smiled. "We have missed her." A bright feeling passed through Milo's chest, warm, light, like sunlight in winter. Ziri's voice returned. "I feel them, I remember them, and they remember me," the figure stepped closer. "You gave her safety, human. You gave her voice. Now let us give you something in return." From the ship, a small orb floated toward Milo. It opened slowly, revealing a tiny glowing seed. "This will grow into something beautiful," the figure said, "not just for you, but for your whole world." Milo took the seed gently in his hand. It felt warm. "Planted," Ziri said. "It will carry part of me, part of all of us." Milo planted the seed on the hill where the crystal first lay. Days later, a tree grew. It sparkled in the sun. Its leaves sang softly when the wind passed through. The children called it the Star Tree, and from that day on, the colony was never the same. Other peaceful beings arrived. New ideas, new friendships, new beginnings. But everyone remembered who started it. a quiet worker named Milo, and the gentle voice inside his mind, who once said, "Now you can't leave me." She was right, but not as a trap, as a promise, a bond of hope that would forever link their stars. The end.